Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy Pronounce Me. Isabel here with Peace. She says hello. She won't leave my tripod alone, so I picked her up. And this is our solution today. Yes, it is. Okay. I'm getting kisses. But I'm here to talk to you about my 2023 goals and my 2024 goals. So we're just going to quickly go through how I did for 2023. And I'm going to talk about the goals I'm setting for 2024. I'm going to go ahead and caveat this for everyone like curious about channel stuff. If you want a breakdown of like everything I made in 2024 or in 2023, I can do that for you in January at some point in like my stats video or something. Let me know in the comments. If not, I'm not going to do it. Like it's not super duper different from last year's numbers. Maybe extra $200-300. So nothing too wild over here. But I'm always open to be transparent with y'all on that stuff as much as I can outside of as much as I can at least. So let me know in the comments if you want that. Stop. But yeah, the numbers this year aren't too different from last year's, which you'll see as we review my 2023 goals. I'm just holding the tripod because I give up. I've tried. I've played with her. I've held her now. And we just want to move the camera. Alright, so in 2023, one of my big goals was to lean into the content I love, which I feel like I did a pretty good job of. I'm continuing that goal into 2024. For me, this is something I do because I love it and I have fun doing it. If I don't have fun, I'm not going to do it. So I like it, so we're going to keep it up. Another goal I had was 2 rec videos a month. Did not manage this. And I'm very mad at myself for it, but it's fine because I feel like I've started recurating my rec lists for stuff. So if you have a specific rec video you want in 2024, let me know in the comments. Because this is continuing on into 2024 for me. I am going to do more rec videos again. I used to be good about it. I've just not been into it lately. I don't know. The other goal I had was to collab with more people, which I kind of did. I kind of did that last year. I did the big collab for Goodreads twice this year, so that was fun. And I think I have some plans for collabs I want to do next year. So if there's creators you want to see me collab with, let me know. My other goal was to get paid out monthly in 2023. And you know what? I basically did. The only month I didn't get paid out in was February, which I'm okay with because if you know anyone that's a content creator, they will tell you how chaotic January ad revenue is compared to December. So I got paid out every single month in the year of 2023 besides February, and I think I only missed that number by $2. So like I think this is a win. I think I managed this goal. I'm also really, really proud of myself for the fact that like I had content that performed well enough for me to manage this, because again, that's not like an easy task by any means, but the fact that I still managed to get paid out every single month in the last year is exciting. Like I said, I'm not going to count that little like $2 against myself. I think this was still successful. So I'd love it if I just continue the trend into 2024. The other goal I had for 2023 was more lives, and that did not happen. I don't go live a ton publicly. I go live more for my members because I like the freedom of being as unhinged as I want to be sometimes. But I would like to figure out some kinds of lives I could do. Maybe. Then short form content. I wanted to do more of that. So I wanted to try more TikToks, more shorts. I did do a little bit more, and I am also going to continue to do so into 2024. You'll notice, you should notice already if you follow me on platforms, I was posting some short form content leading up to the end of the year around books I loved. So, I mean, that's a win. Like, I am proud of myself for managing to do that because I really do just want to do more short form content on the fly stuff. I think even for me, maybe that's it, just doing stories more often in which I talk to you on camera, on Insta, because I'm bad at that, like really bad at that. So I just don't do it. I don't know. And maybe just let you see how chaotic I am sometimes. Let's talk about what I want to do in 2024. There's going to be 2 sections. There's just general 2024 goals, and there will be a Read What You Own goals section in which I break down how and what I'm doing to tackle Read What You Own this year. So first things first, I want to better track my reading in 2024. I really love my spreadsheets. I've used them better in the past, and I think this year I like using my new spreadsheet that I use from Allie over at Hardback Quarter, was able to like fine tune it more and more here and figure out what I need. And I realized that I was not tracking well enough for my underrepresented reads. I want to do better this year. So this year I have added checkboxes and all these different things to help me track and like places to put notes. And that will make it easier for me to be sure I'm reading more diversely. I do think I didn't do as well this year. I think mixing in my manga reading with my books tracking makes it really, really hard to track. Really hard for me to track who I'm reading from as far as authors, like quickly and easily. So I have also, part of that is me breaking my trackers into 2 different things. So I will be tracking my manga in one spreadsheet and my books in another spreadsheet. And I think that's going to help me a lot on this front. But one of my things is I want to be over 50% for underrepresented authors. Okay, so for me, underrepresented is kind of the umbrella term for anything that is not me. And some of it is me, but things like anything featuring BIPOC characters and BIPOC authors, queer romances, fat representation, any disability representations, as well as anything that is not Christian religious representation, because I would like to read more of that stuff as well. Like, I want to read more books by Muslim authors and by Jewish authors and other things. Like, I have a bunch on my TBR. I just need to read them. So that's part of it. And my biggest goal here is to be at or over 50% for the entire year as a cumulative for all of these categories. And I think that is very doable for me. I don't think it's going to be hard. I think am around that, but we'll see what I manage. We will see what I manage. So that is part of me refining and readjusting my tracking. We will have a video in January where I go through my spreadsheets with you, because I think it's really fun to show you like how I set up the forms, and then also how I'm tracking my spreadsheets, like in my spreadsheets themselves, the modifications I made and how I'm tracking things like this. So I think for me, breaking this down into 2 spreadsheets is really going to ensure that my manga numbers are not skewing how much underrepresented stuff I'm reading, since technically, like, Read What You Own is going to be a big focus for me this year as well as a general goal. I'm breaking it into quarters. I am going to adjust my goals for Read What You Own as we go. I will update you in my resets every month where I'm at. And when I adjust goals, probably quarterly in my resets, I will tell you like how I'm adjusting and what is working or what isn't working for me. Because the point of Read What You Own isn't to not buy anything ever for me, but it is to read the things I own and get through more of what I own versus continuing to pick up new things, new holds, new everything, and not reading it. Hold on. So yeah, Read What You Own is definitely a big focus for me in 2024 and making it work for me throughout the year versus how really focused and dedicated I was at the beginning of the year for it, and then struggled as the year continued. I do have obviously exceptions in mind, and we'll talk about each month as they come what the exceptions will be for Read What You Own. So January's reset in like 2 days. We'll talk about my couple like exceptions for January. Another thing I have is my numbers goal. So I don't set like too wild of number goal. Well, okay, listen, the amount I read is a lot for anybody, okay? I'm not going to deny the fact that I read a lot. I do. I'm over 400 books this year, and I more than likely will hit either 420 or 425 before 2023 is over. Like, currently I'm sitting at 411. I'm in the middle of 3 books. I'm easily hitting 420 or 425 for 2023. I don't set my goal that high, okay? I also read a variety of formats. So, like, do not compare my reading life to your reading life. But 2024's goal is going to be about 350 books. My goal is 150 for books and then 200 manga. I have just over 200 unread mangas on my shelf. So if I read 200 plus manga, I should have finished most of my unread shelves down here. Okay, like that's part of Read What You Own, right? I should be reading through a lot of this. And then for books this year, I'm at like 176, 175, somewhere in there. Like I'm really close to 200 regular non-graphic format books this year. So I don't feel like my 350 is unobtainable or over the top for me to put down. I very easily should hit both of these goals. They're very much achievable for me and what I've been reading in the past 3+ years. I have been well over the 350 mark for all of my reading. So keep that in mind as I set this goal. It is a mix of formats. Yes, it's a lot of books, but I also am constantly reading. So there's that. The other goal I have is I would like to continue to and be better about tracking all of my purchases and library books. I did fantastic for most of the year on this. I would say November, December, I fell off. So one of my big goals is to make sure I don't fall off next year and continue to track. I've kind of have to go back and figure out November and December's to have better data when I talk about my statistics and stats for 2023, where we'll discuss how much I saved from the library, how much I spent, all that good stuff on books. Another big goal for me this year is to DNF more. I DNF'd a little bit more in 2023 than I normally do, and the goal is just to continue DNFing because I need to embrace my friend Heather's energy and actually DNF things that I'm not enjoying. Generally speaking, I do DNF things and don't track them as DNF if I read like a chapter and I'm not into it, but I think I want to start tracking them as DNFs and why they didn't work for me, so I don't pick them up again and think, oh yeah, I should try this, and then hate it. So we'll see. We'll see if I manage it. And then the final reading related goal I have is 1 nonfiction a month. I have quite a bit of nonfiction on my Audible library and Libro FM library, so I just like to start picking those up. Some of these are shorter, less pressure books, you know, to read, not like necessarily educational nonfiction, but just like nonfiction. I just would like to expand my reading horizons, as well as, I guess the one last goal besides nonfiction is I want to read more in other genres. So I'm never not going to be a romance girly, okay? Like, romance is always going to be my top genre. But I would like to go back to exploring other genres of fiction that I've liked previously. So, I don't know, if there's a genre of fiction you want to see me try, let me know. I can do a video on it. But I definitely will be reading maybe some popular titles from other genres to see what I think. See if I have an interest in these genres now. I used to read, like when I got back into reading big in college, I was a heavy fantasy and sci-fi girl. Like, I read a lot of that. So I would just be curious to kind of come back through, see what we think, see what we think of some of the newer stuff. Read a little bit more of it. You know, since I only read, you know, say I read 20 books a month and one's a nonfiction and like one is a non-romance title. Perfect. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not going to like go full one way or the other. I just would like to explore some other genres again. Because I already know I like horror a lot more than I ever thought I would. All right, let's talk about Read What You Own. So I am going to give you my numbers in my reset, but we're going to talk about where we are right now and like some of the... Okay, as we go into Read What You Own stats, I'm going to give you the current standings, and I'll also give you these again in my reset, so apologies. On my Kindle, I have 735 unread titles, 102 on my NetGalley, 40, actually I think a NetGalley might be 106. I'm not sure. I need to double check that. Edelweiss, I have 40 unread arcs. Libro FM, 131 unread titles, 208 unread titles on Audible. I have 218 unread physical manga and 31 unread digital manga, 9 light novels I haven't read, and 90 books on my shelf that I have not read. So it's a lot. I would like to reduce the total numbers of unread things on my shelf by, I think 200 to 250 is where I'm going to start. We're gonna see how we do, okay? Like, my manga goal is very high, so like that's gonna probably make this number go up at some point, but for now we're gonna start with an attainable 200 books total off my shelves. Again, if I read 350 books, that's 150 new to me books potentially. I want to reduce my manga pile by 150. Fingers crossed we can manage that. And then I would like to reduce my total unread books by 200. So technically my goal is 350, but we're starting lower. We're starting lower on the spreadsheet just to like motivate myself. And that is also, this 200 is knowing that I have about 60 books on my Kindle right now that will expire in a year. I put all of the books I get on Stuff Your Kindle Day into a specific folder with that date. And if I have not read the book by the time it's been a year that I've gotten that freebie, it leaves my library. It does not stay. It vanishes. I delete it from my library because I figure if after a year I haven't read a free book I picked up, I'm never going to read that book because I've learned my lesson from years of being a Kindle reader and how many free random books I have picked up and now put into a folder called Read or Never Reading This. So technically it's only 140. That's also knowing that there are books I own audios of as well that are just, it's going to help me just kind of reduce this number pretty quickly. I also am, of course, allowed to just go through my Kindle books and remove them from my collection as needed, as I realize I'm not going to read them, but I will be adding them to the spreadsheet to track against myself. All right, Kindle Unlimited. I am going to allow myself to swap my Kindle Unlimited titles out for every book I return from KU that I've read complete. So I'm at 20 right now. If I hit 19, right, and I want a different book, I can swap a title I already have, but I'm not going to add a checkout. So I will not go back up to 20. The goal is going to be to read a book, return it, and then swap older titles as we go. So yeah, that's a current goal. The other thing is my Kindle Unlimited titles are going to start expiring after 2 months. So you just got a KU check-in. All of those titles will not be my checkouts in February. I will have to have read them or returned them because I am not going to carry books around for years anymore on KU. So they expire after 2 check-ins, but these ones are expiring for February's check-in, and then it'll start that route. And then once my KU is under 10 books, I can check out 3 more. That's just kind of going to help me not always have my KU full and be like, I don't know what to return. And sometimes I check out things that I know got picked up by a publisher and are leaving KU, so I don't want to lose it, and I just don't read it forever. And instead of doing that, I need to just read those books and move on. Okay, the library. Library holds are going to be a free game for me. So I can check out, put anything I want on hold at the library. I already do this for new releases a lot, and oftentimes it is a bit of a wait. So I don't feel like it's hindering my reading of my library to do this, like reading of what I own. But I am going to try and limit myself from sending a book back more than twice on the deliver later feature, because I have books that I have, no joke, sent back to the library too many times, and I still have them on hold. So I need to cut it off at the feet. We need to release this book back to the world and either read it or not. So if I'm hesitating that much that I'm sending it back, it's fine. And then I want to also use my library to audiobook as many of the arcs that I have to read as I possibly can. Let's talk about my ARC goals for Read What You Own. All right, I have to read 60 or more NetGalley arcs in 2024. I need to raise my score. That is only 5 books a month, first of all. It's the one thing I need to remind myself. 5 books a month to read 60. I already have 33 that are 2024 arcs. 2023 to 2024 arcs are 33 books. So I only have to read like 27 other books to raise my score without requesting anything, and I think I can do that. I am not allowed to request anything else on NetGalley starting January 1st until I'm caught up on my 2024 arcs, which is only 11 books. Again, very doable. I already have a video planned where I read a bunch of my 2024 arcs for y'all. So this is happening. I'm going to manage this. The other thing is I do get audio arcs via Libro FM. And I also need to actually take the time to join a bunch of other audiobook ARC programs here this year, because truly audiobooks are how I review books the most efficiently. So Libro FM ARCs are free game, but you can only get 10 a month anyways, and I'm going to try and limit myself to 5, but I also will allow myself to get a Libro FM ARC of a book I have a NetGalley ARC of. If I can get a NetGalley ARC of a book and the Libro ARC, I'm going to do that because it's an easy way for me to make sure I get through that ARC. But generally speaking, that only happens a couple times a year. And then last but not least, we of course have to talk about indie ARCs. I am allowed to get ARCs from my indie authors that I love. I'm not going to not do that. That's something I love doing. And generally speaking, I read my indie ARCs very quickly. So I don't feel like they add as much stress or pressure for me as far as getting to ARCs, because I get the indie ARCs and usually read them within a week. So there's that. Okay. Manga series, some rules for manga. Manga series can't be bought unless I've read the latest one in the series. And then I can pick up the next 2 volumes at most, because some series I'm pretty behind on. So I feel like if I catch up and then I know that there's 2 more volumes, that I can pick those up. But we're going to keep it chill. And I'm going to try to not pick up a lot of volume 1s this year. I will continue to buy every Steamship volume 1 that comes out. And some here or there when they do the Barnes & Noble promotions. But I'm really going to try and limit myself to not just buying a ton of volume 1s and not finishing things. And then obviously the biggest thing for all of my Read What You Own stuff is project videos are the exception. I am allowed to do a project video, and I am allowed to get things for those project videos. That's also part of me reducing my KUs, so I can do those project videos with KU books and not be like, oh no, what do I return? Because I feel like that's what I do now. But yeah, those are my goals for 2024 and how I did in 2023. I'd be curious, did you have any specific reading or goals in general that you wanted to do last year? How did you do? And how are you feeling about 2024? Did you set any fun goals? I, for one, am just here to have kind of a low pressure year with some things I know I have going on. With how my 2024 is shaping up already right now that I can see in December, I definitely wanted to keep my goals pretty attainable and reasonable for myself, as well as keeping them really centered on what I'm doing and less on, more on things I can control than on things I can't control, like channel growth or things like that. I needed stuff that I felt like I could control. So I would love to know what your goals are for 2024, and or how you did in 2023, or both. Take your pick. And if you don't want to do either of those things, leave me a gold star emoji in the comments, because it is time to kick off a new year, y'all. And I'm so excited for 2024 and what I have planned already, and just what is looking to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, a better year than 2023 was for a lot of us. And maybe just, you know, leaving behind some of the bad. So I will be back to talk to y'all in just a few days in my next video, and I will have links to read what you own info if you need it. Bye.
Come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.